Meet me. Welcome back, boys. And a lot of you guys have been asking me for this, which I was a little bit surprised by, but I'm more than happy to do it. Now, I've been a little dry on my E7 content lately, and this is the reason. Diablo 2 Resurrected. Diablo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and when this came out, I just got hooked. I'm right back in it. So, we're going to break this video up into topics, but basically today we're going to try to introduce you to this game for those of you who have never even played it before, which is crazy, and it might just be a trip down memory lane for those of you old-ass people like me who have. So today we're going to talk about topic 1, what is Diablo 2? Topic number 2, why is it so freaking awesome? Topic number 3, what are the bad things about Diablo 2? I mean, no game's perfect. Topic number 4, what's different about Resurrected? And topic number 5, am I enjoying it? And I think this is going to be a one-time dealie, but who knows? If you guys really dig Diablo 2, I'd be happy to do more videos. I'm certainly investing a lot of time into it right now. So let's get started. Alright, so what is Diablo 2 for those of you who have never played it? I think a lot of you probably heard of Diablo 3. You older folks might have actually played Diablo 2, but it's basically a top-down, isometric view action RPG. So you're going to see all the same kind of RPG tropes here, like a life bar, you have a mana bar, you have your skill bar, potions, you level up, you have stats that you put points into, you have item slots to put gear in, and the combat's pretty straightforward. If you're a melee class, you would left-click to run up to them and smash them with something. I'm a mage, so obviously I shoot little things. And you use your left and right mouse buttons. You can hotkey your skills, change them up. There's a lot of abilities in this game, and basically you have multiple skill trees. And this is very important because I'm going to reserve this for a later topic, but basically one of the greatest things about Diablo 2 is that for the most part, everything is viable, everything has a purpose. Now, obviously some builds are much better than others for specific things, but in general, you can build, like I have played Sorceress a lot, I've played Lightning, Fire, Cold, they're all very good. Some are better at PvP, some are better at PvE. This is a Blizzard Sorc. It basically is the best PvE starter class to play to farm gear. Later on, once you have better gear, things like Hammerdins outclass it generally. I'm a little outdated in the game. I should start off with that, actually. So, what is my relationship to this game? Well, I used to play this game a crap ton. I quit, I want to say a little bit, before the last 2 patches. So some of the stuff in this game is still new to me. Like, I don't remember some of these newer rune words, which leads me to believe that I quit around patch 1.09. Because the last thing I had before I quit was I made an ethereal Breath of the Dying. For new players, that doesn't mean anything, but it was a very good sword. And then when I was in high school, I sold it to a buddy of mine because I was kind of getting bored of the game for a couple $100, which in high school was a lot of money. But when I was in high school, pretty much everyone played this game. Like, everyone loved this game. It was just huge. Like, even, the non-nerds played this game. So, it's just fantastic. Like, the combat's very fluid. It's just really fun to play. Like, I don't really even know how to explain it. Like, you just gotta try it. And I had even played Diablo 1. If you played Diablo 3, the combat itself is pretty similar. The main difference is the depth of the builds, the fun in finding lots of different items, things like that. So I know that was very quick. I can't really talk about everything about Diablo 2 in these 5 seconds, but let's just move on to the next topic. Basically, it's one of the greatest action RPGs of all time. So topic number 2 is Diablo 2, why is it so awesome? So I kind of alluded to it already. It's because of the depth of the game. There's so much to know about this game, so many different possibilities. People were literally playing the original Diablo 2 up till D2R's launch. And I'm sure some of them still play. There's this crazy thing where some people actually try to get every single unique item in the game. and they've been playing for like 2 decades straight. And there's an active D2 community. Like this game came out in what, like 1999 or something? Like that's how long these people have been playing this game. That's how much of a committed fan base they have. But I kind of talked to you about this, so let me get out of here. So in this game, there are several classes that you can play, and all of them have 3 different skill trees. And like I said before, for the most part, I mean, some of them aren't that great, but for the most part, all of them have a purpose. Some of them are really fun and trolly in PvP. Some of them are just really strong in PvE. But there's just so many possibilities, and it's not uncommon for people to have like 3 of the same class built to like level 99 just so they can have different options. And pretty much everyone who gets hooked on the game will eventually end up playing every single class. Like all of them are pretty good. I'd say the least popular right now is probably Necromancer and Druid. Like he's really strong, but like these classes kind of take longer to kill things. Druids are pretty popular, actually. There's like a, I forget what it's called, like Windstorm or something. Those are pretty good. There used to be like Bear Druids back then. But in general, I'd say like Sorceress and Paladin are the most popular, and then like Trapezians or Javazons. I could be completely wrong. I haven't played this game in a while, but that's just what I remember. The other great thing about the game is just its equipment system. Like it's just so amazing. Like some games, like there's like a specific set of gear that's the best, right? And once you get all that quote unquote best gear, there's just nothing to do. But in Diablo 2, because there's so many different kinds of builds, so many ways you can allocate your points, all those builds need different kinds of gear. And a lot of the gear just have like weird properties, like gear that will give you abilities that your class shouldn't have, like things like that. So you can have like paladins that teleport. Like that's why this game is so popular. It's because everyone's trying to find like cool interactions between equipment. The game even had a lot of bugs in the past that were abused. Like there was this thing called F bug where you can make ethereal armor have even more defense than it should. And the bugs even made the game more fun. Like there was just so much to do. I can't even explain it. But if you were to write, like this is what I'll say, if you were to write a book on how to be the best in Diablo 2, I think that book would be like 50,000 pages long because there's so many different options where some games it's like go to the hardest raid and get the best gear and bar none it's going to be the best. That's not the case in D2. There are arguments to be made to switch up any of these slots with something else. Obviously, there are general guidelines and recommendations, but like lightning sorks will want different gear than cold sorks, and fire sorks will have different gear than lightning sorks. Like it's just very crazy. The other big thing about this game and why it's so popular is, you know, Epic 7 players will be familiar with this. It's basically like the entire game is gambling. And, you know, if you're a degenerate like me, that really appeals to you. Some people are going to hate it because some people just want the kind of game where it's like, if you grind this for 10 hours, we'll guarantee you that you get you what you want. So you just kill the same thing for 10 hours and you're guaranteed to get it. D2 is not like that. It's kind of like Epic 7 searching for that perfect piece of gear. You might go 1,000 hours and get absolutely nothing. Or you could be that luck sack who's like level 1 and you kill one monster and you get one of the best runes in the game, like this, a Jaw rune. So every single time you kill something, this is why this game was so addictive. It was like a drug. Because every single time you killed something, even if it was like a low-level, stupid, useless monster, you had this sense that you can get something great. Like all the best gear in this game, you don't necessarily need to be fighting the hardest bosses. And to be honest, you could just solo the hardest bosses anyway, so it doesn't mean that much. But it's very possible for these little spiky rats outside the first town to give me something that's way more important than a boss drop. And that's what made this game so fun and addictive. People literally just run around killing random things and just praying that they get like one of those really strong high runes, and then they could make really strong high rune equipment. I mean, I can't talk about every element of the game in this quick video. I don't want it to be too long, but the way I could explain it to you is literally everything in the game, like even in the lower difficulties, there's 3 difficulties, can drop you something amazing. Now, some of the chances, like for specific runes, are I think like literally like 1 in a million, like no joke, 1 in a million. Um, it doesn't sound as bad as it sounds because in D2 you're killing like hundreds of monsters per minute. So, it's not like you kill one monster per minute and you have a 1 in a million chance. You kill so many monsters so that drop rate isn't as terrible. It's still pretty terrible though. But the point is, you can always get something ridiculous. And that's what feeds a lot of people when they play this game. So those are some of the upsides. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Let's move on to the next topic. All right, so topic number 3, what are its downsides? So obviously I love this game, I'm a little biased, but I could think of 3 main downsides to this game that haven't really changed from the original name. Number 1, there's no meaningful PvP in this game. So I talked about PvP and how much I enjoyed it, but it wasn't meaningful. You can't get gear from killing people. You can't get like gold or items. You can't even get MMR or rating or anything. There's no way to compare yourself to other quote-unquote top players. The only thing back in the day, I haven't dueled anyone in D2R yet, that you could get, which was actually hilarious, was once you killed them, you could collect their ears. So if there was like a very well-known player or something, you could kill him and take his ear and show your friends and be like, check out his ear, man, I took his ear, which is disgusting but hilarious. But for people who are really craving like a hardcore PvP game where you can crush people, have your name like stamped on some leaderboard to tell everyone that you're amazing, it's not going to happen in Diablo 2. I would love for them to have like an arena system to do that. I would definitely play that competitively. The problem is, I don't think they'll do it. Number 2, considering how old this game is, I feel like for that to be fair, they'd have to do a lot of rebalancing, and all the old school fans would probably be super against changing like core mechanics. So honestly, I don't think it will ever happen. Downside number 2 is the interface is complete garbage by modern standards. So, if you look at this, this is how you join games. It is terrible. There's probably hundreds of thousands of games. You will just randomly see a random assortment of them. And some of them will just be old and outdated. So, like, this is another point we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about trades, but basically sometimes, like, if you want to join, like, a Bale run, which is one of the last bosses, it'll show up, but it'll tell you the elapsed time. It'll be, like, 50 minutes, so you know it's already over. Like, why does that even show up? Like, it's just a really antiquated, horrendous garbage system. On that note, let's talk about trades, because looking at the game names reminded me. You're going to see all these names where it's like TF Flawed Chems, or Gems, or Cham for Air. So basically, to trade in this game, you make a lobby and you state what you have and what you're willing to trade it for. That's ghetto, because as we already talked about, you can barely see like 0.1% of the games that people are playing. So it's completely random whether someone's going to see your game at all. And on top of that, they have to have what you want and need what you're looking for. So this is, honestly, this is how it was back then too. But if I want to trade something, like if I want to say like Vex Rune for Ohm, I would literally have to make this game and sit in it and hope that someone came that is willing to make that trade. And a lot of times people will come just to kill the monsters in your level and they don't even care about the trade. By modern day standards, where most games with like trading have like an auction house or something where you could just kind of list it and forget about it and come back and you'll have what you want, this is extremely ghetto. The good thing about this is that it makes trading very fulfilling and a lot more exciting, because trading in and of itself is like an adventure, which is fine for the higher level stuff. But when you're just trying to dump like lower level uniques and get something out of them, it's not even worth it. So what ends up happening is there are good items in the game, but once you start filling up your inventory, a lot of top players will just start junking it anyway, or making lobbies to give it out for free, because no one wants to deal with the hassle of actually trading it off, because it's so tedious and irritating. So that's another big downside, just the fact that the trading system is horrendous, which is a big deal in a game that revolves 99% around gear and getting new items. That's pretty bad. That's a legitimate complaint. But I think newer players will hate it more than older players, because for older players, they'll just be like, oh yeah, that's how it always was. And newer players will be like, what idiot designed this? And they both have valid points. The last and final point is the game is very grindy. So, like newer games nowadays, I feel like are too easy. Older games, like you guys heard in my like Epic 7 videos where, people complain about Epic 7 grinding and I'm like, you guys know nothing. Because to me, Epic 7, all you do is press a button every 30 minutes and that's quote unquote grinding. In games like D2, to grind, you actually have to play the game the whole time and you're going to be doing the same thing for hours and hours and hours. So if you're the type of player who wants things to come easily and quickly, this is not the game for you. You're going to go absolutely insane because it is not uncommon for people, like right now I'm doing what's called the Mephisto run. It is not uncommon for people to kill this thing like 800 million times to try and get what they want. And you just do this over and over and hope that he drops whatever you need. Some people are going to think that's absolutely ridiculous. And that's a pretty valid point. It's a pretty valid point. So if you guys hate grinding and you don't care about progression, you're going to absolutely get bored of this game. I can't even deny that. You're going to get sick of it because you're going to have to be doing a lot of tedious things over and over. There's like a lot of areas in the game to grind. Like some are like Countess or Cow level or the pits. Pindle runs, and all of them have different reasons to run them. And basically, that's what this game ends up being. You just keep killing the same things over and over, and that is a legitimate complaint. Like some people like me aren't going to mind it because we're addicted and we're like sucked onto that grind to get that really awesome piece of gear or that awesome rune that you need for the rune word. But for those of you who just don't care, you're just going to get bored and be like, I don't care about getting the best gear. My gear is good enough. I don't want to kill this same boss again. I've killed him 100 times already. That's a fair complaint. So, that's just going to be a personality test for you. If you guys are serious MMO players, you'll know how you handle that already. Typically, anyone who enjoys MMOs have a higher tolerance for grinds than people who hate MMOs. That's the reason why a lot of people can't get into MMOs at all, right? They can't stand killing the same things over and over, and that's a fair point. But if you like MMOs generally, I don't think you'll really have a problem with D2 here. The good thing about it is generally the early progression is fast. You can get geared up to an acceptable state pretty quickly. Like in my first day of playing, like some of this gear is pretty damn good. I got my Skulders, my Gold Wrap, my boots, and my shield on my first day of playing. And this is, I don't want to say the best, well, this might be like some of the best gear, but, these three are not the best, but they're end game viable. These are arguably like the best gloves in the game, save maybe one other with 20% faster cast rate. Like, this is arguably one of the best ones, although now they have rune words. This is a steaming pile of garbage. But the point is, you can progress pretty fast. So I don't want to make it sound like it'll take you a year of grinding to get one piece of gear. It won't. You can probably get pretty damn good gear in like 3 to 4 days. But again, there's so much depth to this game that to get the absolute best in every slot, even though you don't need it for anything, that'll probably take you months of serious grinding. So I just wanted to let you know that. Let's move on to the next topic. Topic number 4, what's different about D2 Resurrected compared to the original Diablo 2? I don't want to talk about this topic too much because there's probably a giant list out there and a lot of them are probably very nitty-gritty. The main thing that's different in D2 are some, minor quality of life things. Like I don't think we had this many stash things in the original Diablo 2. Doesn't matter. The main thing is this. So the funny thing about this game is when I first loaded it up, I thought I was playing the original Diablo 2. I was like, oh, this is awesome. My brain thought this is what the game looked like when I played in 2000. But it is not. Let me show you. They actually had a button here that reverts to the original graphics. Let me show you what this game used to look like back when I was playing it. Jesus Christ. Vomit-inducing. Look how horrendous this game looks. Like, I could not believe that I had played this game back in the day. Like, now looking at it, it actually makes me sick to my stomach. Like, I actually get dizzy playing this. It's so pixelated. Everything's so choppy. Ugh. Like, look how much better it looks. I actually think it's really... Like, look at this water. Look at it, it's just a black thing with some, I guess the puddle animations are pretty cool back in the day, but it literally just looks like a glitch, right? Like they forgot the water palette. Now look at it. Like there's like lighting. I heard that there are puddles where you can actually see like your reflection or something. Like the game actually looks really damn good now, and I could not believe it because when I first loaded it up, I was like, "Oh yeah, we're playing a 2000 game," and I was like, "No, you are not. This is the 2000 game, a vomit-inducing, laggy thing of pixels and stuff." And the new game, it's pretty damn beautiful. So that's the main difference. I'd say even by modern standards, this looks pretty good now. Like, I mean, it's not like a Crisis or anything, right? It's a top-down action RPG, but it looks pretty smooth. Everything's crisp. The spells look good. Compared to this, like, let's just look at one of the spell animations together. Like, I don't know, what's a good one? Frozen Orb. That looks pretty cool, right? Let's look at what it looked like back then. Yeah, it looks pretty ghetto. Look at this blizzard, like this, so laggy looking compared to this. It is a huge visual change. So that's the main difference that everyone's going to care about. Everything's smoother, like 60 FPS, yada yada. It's a very nice looking game nowadays. Let's move on to the final topic. So final topic, am I enjoying Diablo 2? Hell yeah, I haven't enjoyed a game this much in a long time. Like, I always say that, like, as I get older, I start to understand more and more how old people feel. Like, when I was a kid and, like, my dad would use, like, cassette tapes instead of CDs, I'd be like, it doesn't make any sense. Why do you do it? And it's just, there's something about the things you did when you were a kid where you can never get that back. Like, I could play games that came out in this year that just don't do anything for me. Like, objectively, they have much better graphics. Like, the storytelling is better because they have voice acting for everything and stuff. But it doesn't have that magic for me. And, I don't know if it'll be the same for this generation who grew up on, I don't know, like, Fortnite or whatever. Like, if when they're in their 60s, they're going to be like, oh, you don't know the times of Fortnite. Those are the best days of our lives. Well, for me, it's like D2. You're going to see a lot of old-ass people on D2. That was a running joke, right? When D2 Resurrected comes out, it's going to be an army of, like, 40-year-olds stampeding, be like, oh, we got to farm Mephisto. And I'm pretty sure that's what's happening, but I think even, like, younger gamers will like this game a lot. I mean, clearly I've been doing my farming. I have, like, pretty decent gear. I mean, this stuff sucks, but, like, the boots are good, the wand is good, this is okay. I have some of the best runes, like I have a jaw rune to make an enigma, a gnome, I need a bear rune. Like, I've been doing a decent amount of farming, so clearly I think at this point, probably invested like 20 to 25 hours in this game, and it hasn't even been out a week, I think. Maybe it's been out a week. I don't even know. But, yeah, I'm liking this game a lot. I think a lot of you guys will too. For Epic 7 players who have never played Diablo 2, I'd say the gear grind is roughly equivalent. Kind of like every time you kill Wyvern, you can get something good, but you probably won't. That's the same thing with this game. Every time you kill a monster, there's a good chance you're going to get something amazing, but, that's what kind of keeps you going. That constant kind of slot machine kind of play. So, anyways, I'm just going to wrap this up here. I know the video was just me mostly running around. I didn't want to spend too much time editing this because, I know a lot of you guys probably aren't D2 gamers if you're subscribed to me. So you guys let me know if you want me to do more Diablo 2 content or, if you don't want to hear about it anymore, that's fine too. But I am playing this a lot right now, so if you guys want guides, if you want to join the game and learn the stuff that you should build, quick answer is build the Blizzard Sword first. But I'd be happy to do that if you guys have interest in it. So anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time, and peace out. And have fun if you try the game.